The United States population continues to go up, but Illinois loses one seat in the U.S. House of Representatives.
The first results from the most recent census were released today. But what do those numbers mean for you? News 10's Dan Klein is live in the studio with more on how this affects us here in the Valley. Dan?
Mark and Teresa, census data affects a lot. It's not just the number of congressmen sent to Washington, D.C., but also the number of electoral votes in presidential elections. And formulas used to spend more than $400 billion in federal money. So for Illinois as a whole, the return of the census data was bad news. Although the state's population grew about 3%, it was not enough to keep up with the rest of the nation, which grew almost 10% to 308 million residents. Illinois will have one less seat in Congress from 19. Indiana went through a similar loss in the last census about 10 years ago. One Hoosier lawmaker says that's a big deal because that's one less person working to bring jobs and taxpayer dollars to the state.
Whenever you lose a seat in Congress, you lose a lot of prestige. You know, you go from 10 seats like we had down to 9 a few years ago, and you lose a lot of representation.
As for Indiana, the number of House seats will remain the same at 9. The population of the Hoosier state grew 6.6%, up to almost 6.5 million residents. Now, one thing that was really surprising for me is, and for longtime residents, is that Indiana has the 15th highest total population in the entire United States. Kersey thinks that's good news for Indiana to have held steady even in recession.
I'm really happy that we haven't lost a congressional seat, and I think that's a big plus for Indiana.
In February and March, the Census Bureau will release more specific demographic data to individual states. That will help states draw the new district lines to divide districts evenly. Mark, back to you.
Thank you, Dan. For more of the overall census picture, including the states that gained the most and others that lost seats, go to our website, WTHI-TV.com.